The Hunters. Jason couldn't run anymore. His legs burned and like they were on fire and his muscles ached. He couldn't catch his breath. He exhaled little puffs of steam in the cold air, almost like an old train that couldn't muster the energy to move. But he had to keep moving. His life depended on it. Jason could hear the snap of a twig somewhere in the woods, but he couldn't tell what direction it came from. It could have come from anywhere. He just had to keep moving while there was still light. Despite his sore, burning muscles, Jason headed west toward the setting sun. West was light. West was home. West might be salvation. What about his father? Was he still alive? Had the beast that was stalking Jason made a meal of his dad? Jason hoped not. That thought strangely comforted him. He figured that the one who hunted him wouldn't take the time to dine. The creature wanted Jason too, and it seemed it would stop at nothing to find him. Jason stepped over a fallen log on the trail. He was sweating under his parka. It wasn't good to sweat when it was so cold out. The sweat is at first warm, but it can freeze you. Jason's dad had told him that. Don't wear too many layers outside if you're moving around in the cold. Just one bit of wisdom from his father. Another was this. The only thing you can predict about your prey is its unpredictability. Jason was trying to be unpredictable, but felt like he was failing miserably. Jason's foot caught a branch of the fallen log. He fell and his head thudded on the stony ground. There was a white flash before his eyes. Suddenly, he couldn't feel the rest of his body, just his head throbbing with his rapid heartbeat. How did I get into this mess? Jason wondered. Only a few hours before, he and his dad were having one of the greatest days of Jason's life. And now, was he going to survive? Come on, son! Up and at him! It was still dark when Jason's dad had shaken him awake that morning. His father had stood over the bed. His white beard seemed to glow in the darkness. You're going to miss the best part of the day! After getting up, dressing, and munching down a quick breakfast of toast and peanut butter, followed by a few gulps of orange juice, Jason climbed aboard his father's new seaplane. For years, Jason's father had been a commercial pilot for a major airline. Now he wanted to live the easy life and fly tourists around Alaska. This was the maiden voyage of the plane before his dad's new business opened on Monday. The day was cold. Even in early September, Jason wasn't sure he liked Alaska yet. He was used to the sunshine of Orange Country, California. His dad grew up in the northern wilderness, though, and had always wanted to return. It's important to get back to nature while we still have a nature to get back to. That was his father's justification for moving north. Give it a try, son, he said to Jason. You'll see. That was 4 months ago. It was warmer then. When they were airborne, the view of the valley below was incredible. The sun was just peeking over the jagged mountains. He and his dad had been flying about 2 hours when his father noticed something wrong with the plane's performance. Engine doesn't seem to be getting enough fuel, his dad said. Should have checked that fuel line before we left. Jason noticed a strange calmness in his father's voice as he fiddled with the switches, trying to get the plane's sputtering engine to function properly. Are we going to crash, Dad? Jason said, unable to hide the rising panic in his voice. There are plenty of lakes around here, his dad said with a wink. I can settle down on one and radio for help. We'll be fine. But minutes later, his dad was wrestling with the controls to keep the nose up. Jason tried the radio with no luck. They hit water, hard. Jason felt snapped in two. They had to anchor the plane, then swim for land. They were frozen by the time they reached the shore. We need to make a fire, Jason's father said. Jason tried not to panic as he searched the area for dry firewood, and that's when he saw the cabin. It was about 150 yards ahead of him. Dad, over there! Soon they were pounding on the door of the log cabin. Somebody lived there. Plenty of freshly cut firewood lay stacked against the side of the cabin. A thin trail of gray smoke snaked out from the stone chimney. The door creaked open and an old face appeared in the doorway. You must be chilled and hungry. Come in and sit by my fire and warm yourselves. I was just about out thinking of what I was going to have for dinner. The man introduced himself as Max and led them to a friendly fire. The man had the darkest eyes Jason had ever seen. They were so dark they seemed like coal. He had stern features, a hawkish nose, carnivorous cheeks, and thin lips. Jason noticed the animals in the cabin, all of them stuffed. Max's hobby was taxidermy, which involves taking a dead animal, treating the fur with chemicals, and then filling the body with sawdust. Jason had seen stuff of deer heads in the occasional restaurant, but he'd never seen full-body trophies before. Grizzly bears, cougars, badgers, wolverines, and even a wolf. All of them snarled at Jason with their razor-sharp teeth and cold marble eyes. They creeped him out. One spot in the corner of the cabin lay empty. A wooden pedestal was there, but nothing was on display. Is that for the big one, when you finally bag it? Jason's father asked Max. Indeed it is, Max said, smiling at the two of them. That will be my greatest trophy. Let me ask you something, sir. You ever hunt? Yes, Jason's father said. Mostly when I was young. My dad took me here in Alaska. In fact, I've tried to interest my son in the sport, but he doesn't want any part of it. Who should shoot animals with cameras? Jason blurted. Not guns. On the contrary, Max said, none of these animals is killed with a gun, or with any weapon, for that matter. Both Jason and his father looked at the strange old man with incredulous glances. The true spot was hunting and killing them with my bare hands. It was either them or me, Max explained. You? Who took down a grizzly bear by herself? Jason's father asked with a chuckle. That's a good one. Max's eyes narrowed. Don't mock me, mister. Don't ever mock me. I am from a long line of hunters, a vanished tribe. Over the centuries, men like you persecuted us. We had to hide in the outer reaches of the wilderness. We had to survive on what we could hunt. Man is the deadliest hunter and the deadliest prey. Now my tribe is all but extinct. I'm the last of my kind. Dad, Jason said. What's he talking about? What tribe? What does he mean? Jason's father shrugged. What I mean, my boy, Max said, is that you are my prey, my dinner. I've been waiting years for a suitable adversary, and now here you are. He pulled out a knife from a drawer and dropped it at Jason's feet. This gives you a sporting chance. Get going. I'll give you to an hour head start. Go! It all seemed like a joke until the old man started to change. His dark eyes grew bright. He hunched over. The muscles in his body pulsated with a life of their own. Thick, dark hair sprouted on his arms and face. His teeth grew long and pointed. His fingernails grew to knife-like points. Go! The old man repeated. Jason and his father dashed out the door and through the woods. They hadn't been on a run for more than 20 minutes when Jason's dad slipped on some icy rocks and rolled down a 50-foot ravine. He lay still at the bottom. Jason climbed down. His father was unconscious. Jason shook his father's shoulders. Keep going, Jason's father said hoarsely. I think my leg is broken. Here, take the knife. Follow this ravine out. Head west toward the sunset. I'm not leaving you behind, Dad, Jason said, tears forming in his eyes. You have to get us help. It's up to you. Jason picked himself up from his spot on the snowy ground beside the fallen log where he'd been lying, dazed for how long? He held the knife close to him. His father's words echoed in the reeling brain. The only thing you can predict about your prey is its unpredictability. Jason could see the outline of a dark figure approaching him. Its eyes burned with an odd light. Was it from the blood-red sunset? Then he saw the fangs. The log across the trail was the only obstacle between him and the werewolf named Max. He thinks I'm only prey, Jason thought. He gripped the knife and waited. Now there were 2 hunters on the trail. Soon they would meet. Does Jason manage to stop Max with the knife? Will he and his father end up on Max's trophy shelf? Will Jason and his father find their way home? That is up to you. Alright, Pack members, thank you for watching the start of my new series in which I read from the book called Werewolf Tales. So, here's what the deal is. At the end of each of these videos, I'm going to ask you, how would you end the story? Comment below, especially you, Carlos. I'm sure you have some excellent ideas. And before I go, here's a little riddle. How do you stop a werewolf that's attacking you? Throw a stick and yell, fetch! Alright, thank you for watching. And until next time, this is Spirit the Alpha, signed out. See you guys back in the pack.